Hi everyone, how are you all? I hope you are all doing well. I am also doing great. So, my name is Ravi and welcome to my channel. So, in this channel, we are going to learn about data analytics. What is data analytics and what are the tools that we require to become a data analytics and how to prepare for the data analytics role and what are the things which we need to learn for the future to grow in your career. So in this channel, we will learn all these things and step by step from basic to advanced level with the help of real life examples. So today we are going to start about SQL for the beginners. So for the first, we are going to learn about SQL. What is SQL? Why it's important? And we will even write our very first SQL query in this first chapter. So, before learning about the SQL, we need to know about what is data and what is database. So, data is a collection of raw facts that figures or symbols that are gathered and recorded but not yet processed. It means it is a collection of data. For example, if you can see here, so 1020 Alice and date of birth and the email address. So these are all called the data. Every data in your Instagram or you're chatting, if you're chatting with someone else, so this data will be stored, right? So though that is also called data. And if you will take the best example in your school days when you are in the school, so there teacher will come and take the attendance and they have mentioned this student has presented, this student as absent. So those data they will collected in the register. So those registers are the database, and those data about your information, your role, which subject you are studying, which class is you are, and your parents name, everything they will store in that data, in that record, or the register. That register they call the database. And the detail which they have mentioned in those those register, that is called data. So here in the modern ways, if we can see here, the database is like, the shape will be like this. It's like a box, you can see, or the registered book. In that register, you can see here ID, name, and date of birth and email address. So these are called the columns, and the data 1001 is the ID and John name and his date of birth and email ID. Like so many students' names, and which is organized in a rows and columns. So this is called a table, and these kinds of the tables that we are going to store in the databases. So that database is this. And if you move forward, what exactly the database is? Database is organized collection of data. Like you can see here, this is a table, student name table. So here you can see ID 101. There are two student names are available. One student name is Ravi Mule and another student name is Priya Patil. And her age is, Ravi Mule age will be 14 and Priya Patil age will be 10. So this is a table, and these tables, they call like so many tables which will be stored in an organized way in the place that is called database. So this is a database, and you can see in our laptop as well, there will be like some folders will be there. All the folders you will store in your computer. So those computer have the database. So those database, all these folders will be same. So that is the meaning of database. If you see about how many types of the databases are there, there are mainly we will know about relational database and non-relational database. What exactly relational database and non-relational database? Relational database is the database which related to the each other tables. Like there are so many tables in the database, so all the tables will be related with the reference columns. So that is called relational database. And non-relational database, like you can see, like it will not related to each other. For example, your text message or images or videographs, and like these are examples of the non-relational. Your text message, any text message or your messages will be your ratings. All these comes under non-relational database. And relational database means will be like your sales register, your purchase register. You will mention in the records like all the purchase details in a organized way, like in a table format, rows and columns format. That is called relational database example. And non-relational database will be images, text or photos, and everything will cover non-relational database. So if we'll move forward, so now we are into know more, we are knowing about SQL here. So what exactly the SQL? SQL stands for structure query language. It communicates with the database. I already today, just before we learn about database, what exactly the database, right? So SQL is the language like to communicate with the database. Like for example, you have the database, and those database you require only some particular data or a portion of the data. For example, you want to know about Ravi and Ramesh data only, his whole data that you require. Then what you will do in old days, you will go and take your register and you will just flip the pages and you will search his name, where is Ravi and where is Ramesh. Then you will get to know, but it will take time consuming. In that case, in our computer system we will use SQL, structure query language, to extract the data or communicate with the databases. We can use SQL language, and it helps, SQL will helps us to insert, retrieve and update and delete the data. So if you want to delete any data, then you can able to delete the data. If you want to insert the data in your table or in your database, then you can do with SQL. And you can want to update the data. If you want to update the old data to the new into the new data, then you can use the SQL to do that. And if we move forward, it works with the relational database. We already talk about what is the relational database, with relation to the each other tables with the reference columns, right? So here if you can see relational databases like MySQL, SQL Server and PostgreSQL and Oracle, etc. So this is the PostgreSQL, and this is Microsoft SQL Server, and this is MySQL, and this is Oracle. So these are all the software applications which are relational database management system we will call. Okay. And if we move forward, why we learn SQL? Exactly, why we learn SQL? SQL is a high demand skill, and this skill will be helpful for data analyst, data engineer and software developers, and help you to interact with a large data set quickly. If you have millions of the data, if you have lakhs of the data or millions of the data in your databases, and if you want to know about some portion of the data and some particular data, then the human can't like extract or retrieve the exact data that they require. So in that case, these SQL will help you the most, and the data retrieval will be become fast as well. You can get the your wish data within a fraction of seconds or the minutes. So that's why we will use SQL, or most of the data engineers and software developers, data analysts will use this SQL. And this is essential for the data driven decision making. So this is mostly used for data driven decision. Based upon the data, stakeholders will take the decisions to change their like to change their businesses decisions or to grow their business with the data driven decision making. And and also we want to know about works with the tools like Power BI, Excel, Tableau and Python and R, etc. These are all we are going to learn in the upcoming videos. But it it works with SQL will works with all these tools. Okay. And common SQL commands, if you will see here, so those common SQL commands are the select. So select will help us to fetch the data from the database, and insert, add a new data into that, and update if you want to modify the existing data, and delete command remove the data from your database and in the table, and create a new table. Create command we can use to create a table or the database. If you want to create a new table or new database, in that case we can use create commands. And drop we can use to delete the tables or the database. So if you see here, delete and drop both are different. So delete will be remove the rows only. If you want to remove a particular rows, then you can use delete command. And if you want to delete entire table or entire database, in that case you can use drop. Okay. And if you can see relational database, what exactly the relational database? Now you can see here a database is a collection of table. I already told you the database is a collection of table, and table is contains rows and columns. Table will contain rows and columns. And here you can see this is the database, and here you will see the tables. There are three tables which are in the form of rows and columns. So, and each row is a record. So if you can see, we can call a row in another name record. So these are all the records, and each column is a field or the attribute. Each column is a field or the attribute that we will call. Here you can see these are the columns, or another name we can call the fields. This thing, okay. An example you can see here, the table name is called employees here, okay. So if you can take example, this is the employee table, and you can see here, so these are the rows and these are the columns, okay. So this is all about relational database. So if you will see, let's write our very first SQL query. So now what I will do, I will just take you to the server, which is software application, which is that we are using SQL Server. If you haven't installed your SQL Server till now, so in the next video, we are going to make a video on that. So link will be available to you in the description. Okay, so I'm going back to the SQL Server. So here this is a Microsoft SQL Server. Here you can see the database. So database, in the database you will see I have Data Guru, the Data King and Raw King, and top 5 projects data. So these 4 database that I have created, if you can see the, if you can click the Data Guru, so here you can see the table name. So table name, if you can click in the on that, so you can see here the employee table is there. So if you want to write a query, so here you can see the option new query. You can click on this and it will take you to the query editor. Here this is the query editor, okay. Query editor, you can just, so we will go into our this example, get all the records from the employees table. So all the records get the from the employees table. How we can do, we can do employees table. If you can run this query, here is the execute button. You can just click on the execute button, and here you will get the employees detail, employees table. Here you can see the employee ID, employee name, which department he is working, and the salary how much he is getting, and which under which manager he is working, and his joining date. So this is the first query. And here if I can explain this query, so here you can see the select means fetch all the data, fetch the data from the table. We can use select command. And star means, star is to select or the fetch all the columns from the table, and from is from which table that we are going to fetch the data, we can use from command. And employees, it is a table name. So here from a employees table that we are going to fetch all the columns. So that is the meaning of this query, and the result will be this. In this video that we have covered almost what is SQL and what are the common SQL commands, and we have already write our very first SQL query, and we have practiced using SQL clause, and we are going to learn about where clause in our upcoming videos, and we learn about what is data, what is database, and what is relational database, what is non-relational database, we have covered in this video. And what's next? In the next video, we are going to create a new table and insert the new data into the table. We have to create our own table and we have to create our own database. First, before that, we need to install our Microsoft SQL server first. Then we will do all this learn, and we are going to learn a specific column, how to fetch a specific columns by using select command, and we are going to filter multiple conditions. Okay, so that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you love this video. So in the next video we will cover about these things. Thank you so much for watching this video. We will meet in another video. Till then, keep learning and keep growing. Thank you so much.